Hello, it's Dr. Darnise, and welcome back in. Yes, history, religion, politics. Yep, that's what we're talking about today. I know it's been a minute, but here I am back. Listen, y'all know that thing that happened the other day, the assassination that happened the other day, shows us once again that Black people must remain vigilant because how did it go from that guy getting taken out to threats at HBCUs? How those things go together? Well, this is what white supremacy does, right? This is what angry white people do. They lash out, and typically they lash out at Black people. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't have to make sense, really, because we're talking about a mob mentality that's based upon an idea that we somehow don't belong, that we are infringing upon their having everything in the world just by existing. The fact that we have any success whatsoever is a threat to white supremacy. So our campuses, our historically Black colleges and universities are locking down, are feeling tension, and are feeling under threat. And so, what does that have to do with really our channel here? Well, I have been meaning to come back on here and talk about a Black religion curriculum. You know, I've been talking for so long about how we have to educate ourselves. We have to read books. I encourage you to read books with your children to instill in them a love of reading to counteract the brain rot, the brain drain that is happening, the the loss of attention span, so that people cannot read. I've been talking about that for a long time. Look at all the videos on here of me talking about your kids can't read. And we are at another example of that because literacy rates are plummeting and they continue to plummet. And so, excuse me, I had the idea that I was going to come on here and offer a Black religion curriculum, meaning I'm just going to go through um, some of the topics that I normally talk about in my college classroom about Black religion. I was thinking that already. And now this incident happened with this person getting assassinated and then this threat upon Black people. And I said, "Oh, okay, well, I will start. I was going to start kind of with Black religion in general, but I'm going to start with Black theology, Black liberation theology." And but when I say I'm going to do it, like I normally, obviously charge money for these courses. And you can find that, right? I've made a reading list. I've made a Black religion course that you can buy, and you'll get more there from buying that. But I'm going to come on and talk a little bit about each book. Basically, do small lessons on here on my channel because we're at a time when we really have to interrogate what it is to be Black in America, be a person of faith, especially if you're a Christian or a Muslim, really, Black Muslim. What does that mean? How do those things go together in this country? What is a religiously fueled activism look like? Because so many Black Americans are Christian. Okay, well then, how does that work when we are under attack? How, where are our ministers? What are they doing? What should they be doing? What does it look like when you have a Black liberation theology? Because it doesn't look like us all picking up rifles and going into the street. That's not what it is. There are some, militant organizations that might say that's what it is or that's part of what it is, but Black liberation theology is not about that, right? So, and I've talked about some of these people before. I'm going to show you a couple books. If you want to do this with me, somehow my throat is very dry at the moment. If you want to do this with me, there are a couple books that you must have, right? I mean, I'm going to do some teachings from these books, but I just want you to have these in your own library. Whether you do the course, let's watch the videos that I'm going to make or not. We can't do this thing without James Cone. I don't know if it's coming up crooked or not, but James Cone is the father of liberation, Black liberation theology. If you don't read anything else, read James Cone. And that's what I tell my students in the classroom. Read James Cone. He is the father of Black liberation theology. We cannot do this work. We cannot do any Black religion course without talking about James Cone. You also need this. You need Slave Religion by Albert Rabbitow. And you might think, well, why would I need that? That's not really about liberation. That's some slave something. Slave religion, the invisible institution in the antebellum South. You cannot do a study of an academic study of Black religion without these two. It's not possible. It's not. And I've told students that for 20 years. You know, they try me. Of course they do. Young people, they try me, right? And then they flunk the first couple of quizzes because they had an idea that I can skip those readings. You can't, because when you don't know something, you can't figure it out. When you really don't know something, you can't figure it out. Okay, so those of you who watch the videos, I know you have some interest, some curiosity at least, at least to watch a 20 or 30-minute video of me actually giving you some teachings about what these things are. So if you would like, it would be good for you to have those two books yourself, and you can read them on your own, but I will be doing some teachings from them. Again, we're at another point in our history where we are under attack, not just because of the recent assassination, but since this person became president again, right? This administration has been coming for us, coming for American history, even in an attempt to erase us from it. They would just as soon erase Black existence from American history, right? They've labeled it, they've really mislabeled it, our history as being wokeism, a word and an idea that they don't even understand at all, but they've weaponized the word against us in order to ban books, in order to say that anything that allows the rest of the country to learn anything about the Black American experience, or really the American experience, because here we are, Americans also, they would rather just erase that. So it's not just this particular person's unaliving, it is this machine that has been rolling out, right, since he took office again, and he has specifically targeted universities and colleges, specifically trying to erase anything that teaches about slavery, um, or the civil rights era for that matter, since he got back in office. Of course, we can go previous, right, and go back into Reconstruction, right? There was an attempt to stifle Black people, our freedom, to stifle our freedom. So it's nothing new. So when I say this is another attempt to, suppress us, it's another way to try to, I don't know, rile us, to attack us as a people. And so what is one of our weapons? One of our weapons is that we don't forget. We are the embodiment of our history. We are the embodiment of our ancestors, and we will not forget, and we will not stop talking about these things. We will not. As long as we are here, we represent all of that. And I think that is why, even though this unaliving has nothing to do with Black people, the threat against Blackness is because of that. Because they can't reconcile that we are part of America too, and that we keep thriving in various ways. And an affront to white supremacy that we thrive despite their attempts to hold us back. This person who got unalived, he said the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. He thought that Martin Luther King Jr. was a terrible person and that the whole civil rights era or legislation, it was a mistake. That's what he said. So it's up to us, as always, to look out for ourselves. It's up to us to educate ourselves. It's up to us to educate our children, our grandchildren. There's no justification that, oh, well, I just let my kid learn whatever they learn in school and run with that. Don't be that person. You have got to actively educate yourself and your own family members. Otherwise, it's gone. It's gone, right? So I want to do some courses. Oh, well, I don't know if I'm going to call it, I'm just going to call it a curriculum. We're going to jump into the study of Black religions. And so that's not just Christianity, right? But, right. So some people think when I say, I teach religion, they're like, oh, you teach Christianity. Well, that's just one religion out of many, right? And for Black people, we have multiple religious expressions. And so I'm going to be talking about Black religions. That's a book I wrote right there, Beyond Christianity, right? African Americans in the New Thought Church. So we'll talk about that as well. Get that one too, Black Religion. Get it on Amazon. It's a little pricey because it's an academic book, but um, James Cone. It really doesn't even have to be this one. If you go on Amazon and you look for James Cone, he wrote, I don't know, about 20 books or something over the course of his lifetime. It doesn't have to be this one, but I'll be teaching mostly from this one. Well, mostly, but I have a couple other ones. And Slave Religion. And if you really want to do something, I've talked about Aubrey Hendricks too. Aubrey Hendricks, The Politics of Jesus, or his other book, what is that book? Christians Against Christianity. Both of those talk about politics and religion and how conservative Republicans are and have been basically undermining Christianity and gaslighting everybody into thinking that they're Christian, but they are really Christo-fascists, right? All right. So I'm going to wrap it up there because this is really just a video to tell you that I'm about to make these curriculum style videos. And so, if you're excited about that, put something in the comment like, yes, I'm excited about that, or yeah, look forward to it. And go and get yourself James Cone and Albert Rabbitoe. Can't do this work without them. There are others that we absolutely have to have too. Katie Cannon is a great womanist theologian. Many of my colleagues have written amazing books. And speaking one last thing, several of my colleagues too were on the professor watch list started by that person who got unalived. And it was a very vicious campaign of um, antagonizing, harassing professors in universities across the country who were so-called woke, right? So, professors that I know, and a lot that I don't know personally, but they were on what he called his watch list. And his people, his supporters, would actively harass these professors in email, calling them all kinds of names, as you can imagine, calling the dean of the college that they were at or the president of the university, bombarding the university with this hate speech. Some of them have had to get security protection. So the fact that this person has spoken himself into the next world, what is the rule on the street? You talk trash, something's going to happen. And so many people in our time now talk trash and they feel like there's never any consequence. There's no accountability. But especially in the street, if you talking out the side of your neck, if you talking trash about somebody, you might get got. That's just sort of the way it is. And didn't he say, "Hmm, sometimes it's worth it. Eh, it's okay." Didn't he say that when he was talking about other people being unalived by gun violence? He just said, oh, it's kind of a necessary thing that we just have to live with. And as he was saying that, as he was defending that on his fateful day, he got got. Karma, that girl Karma, you don't mess with her. You never know when she's coming to visit. Anyway, I'm not glorifying. I'm not trying to celebrate what happened. I'm just saying certain things are karmic, certain things, there are consequences and accountability, is what I'll just say. Anyway, it's led to some backlash against Black people, and that's what I'm concerned about. So let's, watch our backs, do what we got to do to stay safe out here in these streets. And I will be back with more. Hope you're doing okay. All right, bye for now.